I don't know about you, but I am sick and tired of wondering how to fix my sales and thinking that social media is the answer to all the things. If you're tired of posting all day, every day on Instagram, hoping and praying that someone is going to buy your thing, I feel you. I've been there and it sucks. But in this video, I want to talk you through what you can do differently and specifically how I increased my sales when I noticed that I had a drop happening. And I looked at my data and I was able to really pinpoint what my biggest problem was. I'm going to share that with you right now. But before we do that, I want to talk to you about the problem with social media in general. So it doesn't really matter what social media platform you're on, whether that's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all the platforms, wherever you're spending your time. I want you to ask yourself this question. What's your ROI, as in return on investment? What does that actually look like? I was literally having a conversation with some of my members this morning about this very thing. I was saying here, if you're on social media and you enjoy being on social media, awesome. But what's your ROI? And are you actually measuring that? This was a question that was posed to me by my own coach because we were having a little bit of a discussion, let's put it that way, about whether I should quit social media altogether. And I was giving her some pushback because I was like, but I'm doing all the things. And I really love it when someone likes my post or gives me a heart or all those things. And she was like, Lise, that's great. But what's your ROI? And I went, huh? I was like, what? I don't understand the question. She was like, well, if you are wanting to get people joining your email list and you're wanting to make sales, are either of those two things happening from your social media posts? And wow, what a question and eye opener that was. And it sent me down this massive rabbit hole of looking at my data. And what I realized is in a 90-day period, and this was back in 2021 when I actually quit social media, that nothing could be attributed to someone joining my email list or buying from any of the posts that I was sharing on Facebook and Instagram, because that's where I was hanging out at the time. Now, that was a kicker. I was like, dang, I'm doing all this stuff and it's not making a bit of difference. So, if you're in the same boot camp, I want you to listen up because here is what you can do to increase your sales right now. And if you're wondering what we're talking about, we are talking about a very small piece of the daily sales ecosystem. Now, I went through that in a previous video, which you will find coming up on your screen right now. So if you haven't watched that, go and check that out. Otherwise, what we're going to focus on today is the grow phase of the daily sales ecosystem. So the grow phase is what I can attribute to my increase in coaching sales and course sales directly after quitting social media. So, what exactly is the grow phase? Well, basically, it is focused on two key things: grow your audience, grow your offers. Now, we will move in and out of the offer piece depending on where we are in our business and whether we need to grow our offer suite, but we should always be growing our audience. And that was one of the key things that I realized and recognized that I was not doing because I had been so focused on doing all the things on social media, growing my Facebook community, getting more people to follow me on Instagram. But when my coach asked me that question, what's your ROI and is it leading to sales and email signups? And I realized that it wasn't, that's when I went, okay, I need to grow my audience. And then, based on a few specific questions that I ask, I can grow my offers in alignment with what it is that they actually need or want, right? Because there's always this give them what they want, bake them what they need component, because sometimes they don't always know what they need. But at least I had this opportunity to be able to have a conversation with new people coming into my world. So that's what the grow phase is all about: growing our audience, growing our offers. And depending on where you're at, you may be focused on doing both at the same time or just focused on growing your audience. And that's really the camp that I was in 2021, was to grow my audience. So this is when I went down the path of running lead generation ads, and specifically running those on Facebook and Instagram. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but Lise, didn't you just say you got off social media? Yes. But just because I left social media doesn't mean that I don't recognize a role that social media can play in helping you grow your audience. But it's a pay to play, right? It is paying to get in front of my audience, but getting them onto my email list. So a very clear return on investment. But if we're going to pay for leads coming into our world, we also want to make sure that we're giving ourselves an opportunity to recoup those costs, which is why you will want, if you ever run lead generation ads, to have an email sales funnel happening on the back end so that you can literally break even with your ad spend. So that's what I chose to do, and it worked extremely well. I mean, I am a huge fan of paying for lead generation, no problem doing that. But now what I choose to focus on is doing more long-term organic strategies so that I can really truly step off social media at any time. And I don't ever have to worry about whether someone is seeing something that I'm doing and they're now going to put nasty comments on all the things. Now, that can happen in organic methods too, but people seem to be less likely to do that. So let's talk through some of those options right now. So the number one way that I personally grow my email list right now is through collaborations. Now, I'm a huge fan of collaborations. They are a little bit more time intensive, but man, do they pay off. At the time of recording this particular video, and it is March 2025, in the last 6 weeks, I've added 375 people to my email list just from collaborations. That's it. So I haven't had to pay for ads. I haven't had to do anything other than send a few emails. Really, that's all that I've had to do. And it's super, super easy. So 375 people into my world, and that is after unsubscribe. So typically, when you have people come in through some type of free piece, you will get some people unsubscribe, but I tend to find that my unsubscribes are low because I'm very strategic about the collaborations that I participate in. So I'm very clear on who my ready to buy customer is. And I'm very strategic about the type of offers I put into those types of collaborations. So that could be a bundle, that could be a summit, it could be a straight newsletter swap. It can also be guesting on somebody's podcast. So those are the ones that I typically use to grow my email list. And it really is a great way to bring people into your world who are warm. They're not cold. So people are fairly cold when they come in through a lead generation ad. But when they come in through a collaboration, the person who is sharing your content with somebody else that's in their world, they're much more likely to be interested and much more likely to check out if what you're including in that particular collaboration is something that they actually want, which is why I want to circle back to making sure that if you're participating in any type of collaboration, that you always do it through the lens of, I'm looking to attract my ready to buy customer. And then you choose your collaboration strategically, and then you choose the type of offers that you want to include in that type of collaboration based on that. So reverse engineer based on the people you want to attract, and then choose your offers and go from there. So if you want to get started with the grow phase, then I want you to really think about, where do you want to grow your audience? And personally, I'm all about owning my audience. And that was also the other big thing that made me realize, wow, social media is not where I want to be, because I don't own that audience. I can't know what someone's email address is if they're following me on Facebook. And there's no way that I can ensure that a timely message, right, something that I actually want someone to see in a specific time frame, is actually going to be seen by them, because there's no way to do that unless you pay. And even then, there is no guarantee that they're going to see it. Whereas when you are doing something on your email, you have a much higher probability of them seeing your emails, particularly if your emails are going out every single day. there's a lot more opportunity for people to actually see what you're doing and actually buy. It's how I've been able to get myself to a point where I'm making daily sales in my business, predominantly through my email. We're going to break down the next phase in the daily sales ecosystem in the next video. So that is coming up on your screen right now. I'll see you there.